Hello, I'm Hui. Now I will present our research about fine-grained hand gesture recognition in multi-viewpoint hand hygiene. First, we will show the motivation of the research and give some literature reviews. Next, we introduce the MFS dataset for hand wash recognition in multi-views, a self-supervised method that we use, and some experimental results on this dataset are also provided. Hand washing is required in medical environment. A correct and careful hand washing procedure guarantees hygiene in surgery. In the right image, you can see that the hand come cleaner after 6 hand washing step. This is an illustration of the 6 steps of medical hand washing. Some surgeons may forget or ignore some steps. This is why an automatic hand washing supervision system would help. A system needs to be accurate, efficient, and especially deployable at many places. Our research focused on the last one. We assume that a learning algorithm that concerns the very few problems could deal with this problem. As we know, there are two types of approaches, sensor-based and image-based. The sensor-based approach leverages information from sensors like depth sensor, skeleton, hand pose, and lip motion. But these sensors are usually very expensive and not easy for configuring. In contrast, images can be produced from low-cost cameras. Moreover, the RGB image also would use a lot in many deep learning models. Our research target include 2 points. The fine range characteristic of hand washing gestures. Here are the image for a 7 step of hand washing. You can see that they are very similar and hard to discriminate. For deep learning, this is even harder. And the second problem is about the varying viewpoint. This problem requires the learning procedure to extract the most relevant information to be meaningful representations. We use self-supervised learning to deal with the two problems. This is a method that learns representation from data without the need for annotated labels. More correctly, it tries to solve retake tasks that take pseudo-label for training. The learned representations then are used for downstream tasks like classification, detection, and segmentation. In particular, we use augmented multi-scale deep informatics, SORT, and AMDIM. AMDIM is based on local deep informatics. The retake task of AMDIM is to maximize the mutual information between features extracted from multiple views of an image. We have reproduced the MFS dataset from the original hand wash dataset of the paper, named Automated Quality Assessment of Hand Washing Using Deep Learning. Some information about our MFS dataset. It is used for hand wash classification in multi-view. It has 6 scenes. These scenes differ from the other with background. In background, viewpoint, object, or performer. In each scene, there are 7 other steps of hand washing. Each step is in one category for classification problem. Example in image. This table shows the number of samples in each class for each scene. You can see the number of samples in the 7th class are unbalanced. In the last column, the total sample in 16 are also unbalanced. Here are some example images. Along the horizontal direction are the 7 steps of hand washing. Along the vertical direction are the 6 scenes in the MFS dataset. Recall that the objective of AMDIM is maximizing the mutual information between features from different views of an input. Views can be position of views, different modalities. In our experiment, there are samples produced from different types of augmentation on an original sample. We hypothesize that common high-level factor existing in most of the view can be acquired by solving the task of mutual information maximization. The Kumbach labor divergence is used to estimate the mutual information between X and Y. X and Y are two different augmented versions of an input image. In practice, the mutual information is estimated by training a classifier to discriminate between samples coming from the choice distribution and samples coming from the product of marginals. The principle of network training is to find a set of parameters so that the mutual information of X and Y maximize. AMDIM is based on local deep information with 3 extensions. Features are detected across independently augmented form of each input and simultaneously generated across multiple scales. This encoder is more powerful. On the left is the local deep information framework. The green local feature and the yellow local feature are extracted from the same input image through a convolutional encoder. The red local feature is from another image. The principle of this framework is to generate a real score matrix and a fixed score matrix. Real score matrix from the green local feature and the global feature. Fixed score matrix from the red local feature and the global feature. Reactive matrices are then seen as samples that are used by sampling strategies. Then the discriminator is trained to distinguish between this set of score matrices. The encoder is trained to fool the discriminator. In AMDIM, this is a little bit different. The terms global feature and local feature are not defined by where and how feature come from the encoder output, but they are extracted from 2 different augmented versions of an input image. For more information, you should read the deep information paper in the AMDIM paper. 2 metrics we use to evaluate the experiment on the MFS datasets are accuracy and macro F1 score, and glide accuracy, which focus on the importance of samples. The macro F1 score put the same importance on each class. The model that only perform well on the common classes while performing poorly on the grade classes will cause a low macro F1 score. Therefore, it is a good choice for us to evaluate method on the MFH dataset. There are 2 scenarios for the evaluation. The same scene scenario is the model trained and tested within the same scene. The cross-scene scenario is the model trained in a specific scene, but evaluated in the other scenes. MobileNet V2, RedNet 18, and InceptionNet V3 are the baseline network for our analysis. They are retrained on the IMET dataset and then are fine-tuned in a specific subdataset of the MFH. AMDIM is also retrained on the IMET dataset, then a classification is trained on top of the feature for hand gesture recognition. You can see that both the accuracy column and the macro F1 column of the cross-scene scenario do not have good test results as the same scene scenario. Here, AMDIM achieved the best result in all 4 columns. We have also produced confusion matrices for data mismatch analysis. These are the 2 confusion matrices of Inception V3, one for accuracy and one for macro F1 score. In each matrix, the vertical axis denote the scene that is used to train the model, and the horizontal axis denote the scene on which the trained model is evaluated. The same scene scenario on the diagonal gives the highest result. Although the number of classes is not much, in most cases, inception V3 achieve low result due to mismatch in distribution between train set and test set. When turned into AMDIM, the blue color of the off-diagonal values become brighter, which show AMDIM can have the ability to adapt to a new scene. And we can also perceive the on-diagonal value become redder, which together show that AMDIM perform better on the unbalanced problem. Especially the blue region of the micro F1 score had become much brighter than the case of inception B3. One more experiment is carried out to assess the impact of using the image retrain model for AMDIM. In the two cross-scene columns, whether AMDIM use or do not use the retrain model, all of these results are better than that of inception B3. Besides, we have investigated that using a deeper neural network like the multi-layer perceptron for classification achieve better result than using a linear one. In this paper, we introduce a multi-viewpoint 5-grain and hygiene dataset that reach closer to realistic setting. Our new dataset will enable research possibility in multiple directions. For example, 5-grain learning, multiple view learning, and data distribution learning. Besides, self-supervising is also presented to deal with 5-grain and recognition and data mismatch problem. Thank you. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.